my name is Jesús Barrasa. I've been with Neo for the last 4.5 years. I'm based in the London office, and I'm the head of telco solutions with Neo4j, which means that I work with our telco customers, most of them, and I also kind of this sort of a SME on the telco space. There's two things that I love about graphs, and one of them is the flexibility of the model. You don't have to spend weeks coming up with a perfect model, so you can be very agile, you can iterate, you can, without having to go through a painful migration every time there's a change. So I like this flexibility a lot. And then another thing that I'm amazed about is the performance of graphs. I mean, native graphs like Neo4j in particular. I mean, I've been involved in a number of projects where I work for Neo, have worked for the last 4 years, but I'm still amazed by the performance of these things like path traversals and some of these local queries. So these are probably the two things that I enjoy and that I'm still amazed about Neo4j. It's funny because I've spent my whole career in the graph space in a way. So when I finished university, I did my PhD in semantic technologies. And semantic technologies interestingly, use the same abstraction. They represent the world as graphs, as connected entities. So I was doing graphs from that time. And yeah, I did work for a company that was using these semantic technologies and modeling network topologies. So I've been doing telco and graphs for quite a while, using graphs. But then I took a break. I worked for data integration, and interestingly, I was following Max de Marzi, and he posted a tweet at some point where we're looking for an engineer based in London that loves graphs, and say, that's me. So I replied, and he got me in touch with it. So that's how it was kind of something that was meant to happen at some point. So, but yeah, that's kind of the journey. So it's been all the way, graphs all the way. Right, so for me in particular, I mean, I kind of had been through the high-level modeling of domains as graphs. So I was kind of familiar with representing things as connected entities. But I came from, as I was mentioning before, I came from the RDF world where, things are slightly different. And so understanding the specifics of Neo4j, things like, for example, relationships, that might be a bit too technical, but things like relationships in Neo4j are uniquely identified and you can associate properties to them. That was something that was a bit of a change for me. And then also another very important element of the learning curve with Neo4j is you have to understand the engine, you have to understand the storage, you have to understand what we call our secret sauce, how we store data, because having a good understanding of that makes it possible for you to build the right models, to write the right queries. So it's quite simple because graphs are very intuitive. It's very easy to think that I'm an expert from day one, and it's true. Simple things are very simple in graphs, but when you start building complex solutions, it's important to have a deep understanding of not just the model, but what's the underlying, for example, things like storage and processing of the graphs. So I think these two elements were kind of the two ones that I found in my sort of learning process to Neo4j. Well, especially telco is huge, of course, and there's anything network management, anything that involves representing the network infrastructure, all the physical, all the logical, virtual, all the elements that are involved in delivering a service. That is a graph. That there's no discussion. Then there's loads of areas, more customer focused, more service focused. But I'll focus on this one. Anything network related is just a graph. I mean, it's a no-brainer, and it's interesting because telco is one of the industries where we have been stronger from day one. I mean, it's not that we have had a campaign focusing, but this industry have realized from the very beginning the value of graphs, and it's kind of an obvious match. So I think anything network management, whether that's coming up with a unified inventory with multi-layer models that you can service impact analysis. Any of these problems are graphs, and I think that's the area. And it's not just my intuition; it's the reality. I mean, I see that the leaders in that space, all the software companies that are producing the OSS system, the software that any telcos in the world are using to run the network, are based in graphs. All the leading vendors in that space are already not only using graphs but using Neo4j. So that's the area where we are stronger, where I see even more growth. Right, so I think now with 5G coming up and the Internet of Things, we will leverage 5G, and there's a huge trend in the direction of automation of services, anything, provisioning a service, reacting to failure. It's all about being able to automate the response to any of these things. And that's perfectly aligned with a solution like Neo4j, because Neo4j will give you not just an accurate and timely representation of your network and the services and all the elements that are involved in the delivery of a service, but also it's an actionable platform. It's an active platform where you can build also logic that will simplify and accelerate these automations. So I think that's the area where we'll see more growth over the next few months, years. Well, my advice is just download Neo4j, or go to start a sandbox and play with it. But when you're taking it seriously, just call us. I mean, get us experts' advice, because I was saying before, easy things are easy, but when it gets complicated, it's very important. I mean, I'm not saying people. I mean, people do. Become experts with Neo4j on their own sometimes, but it's always good to get the advice of the experts, and anything around best practices. Like I'm sure whatever the problem you're trying to solve, we've done it before successfully with some customer, with some other user, and that's something we love to share. I mean, I think we're very, very how would I call it? I mean, we produce a lot of content. I mean, we love sharing what we learn and what we do. But yeah, reach out to us, and I think that would be my advice. Try it, of course, get your hands dirty, do it, but when you want to take it seriously, reach out to us.